the Super Speedway.
Yeah, I was close enough to drive it in there, and yeah, I feel like I'd be mad at myself for not at least trying. I mean, obviously I don't mean to wreck anybody, much less, especially him. Some guys I wouldn't mind, but he's not one of them. So, you know, hopefully he's not too mad at me. I feel like you gotta go for it here in an event like this and in a situation. So I can't be sorry about going for the win, but certainly didn't mean to wreck him.
I mean, yeah, I'd hate it happened too. It didn't work out for either of us. So we were just racing hard, and a little bit fresher tires there. We saved the set and got back to second there, and this car was really good. I had to use up a lot to get to him, and I tried to protect, and I drove into the last corner really deep to try to make sure I didn't protect it or get dive bomb like that, and it just came together there. So what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? Welcome to episode 182 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, there's been cars on the track, man.
Cars on the track? Cars on the track now?
As we speak, there are cars on the track for NASCAR qualifying.
Speed Week is a go.
Daytona 500 is underway. When you're listening to this, chances are you'll already know who got the pole, but we're updating it live because so far 39 cars have taken time of the 44 that will qualify, or 43, because apparently Derek Cope's not taking a lap. And Alex Bowman is right now our provisional pole winner with William Byron on the outside of the front row.
Looks like we're gonna have all Hendrick front row again.
Looks like it.
Yep, that seems to be a theme there. Although didn't Stenhouse take it last year? Wasn't it Ricky Stenhouse's pole last year?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but other than that, it's been Bowman and all those guys. Yeah, just it looks like it's gonna be Bowman again. I think it'll be his third one.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. We have. I'm assuming Gregson's in a Chevrolet. That's the only Chevy left, and you got two Toyotas with Kyle Busch and Christopher Bell left to go. So.
Yeah, we were shocked that Bubba Wallace he's going to be starting up front in the duels.
Yep.
He'll be pretty close to the front. So
yeah, he'll be out right now. Looks like outside front row for duel 2.
Yeah, so there you go, man. That's nice. Nice.
So.
Cars on the track, love it. This is used to be a longer version of Speed Weeks, but
I like this better. I think
this. I like it. Yeah, cars on track every day. Beautiful.
I like the condensed. I mean, I really enjoyed when they did the battle at the beach or whatever on the backstretch. That was cool.
Yeah,
back in the day. But now this is good. We don't need to be there as long as we were in the past. Kyle Busch 15th on the grid now.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we had cars on the track yesterday. We had the Busch Clash. We made some predictions last week that it was going to stink, and I think we're going to disagree a little bit tonight.
Probably. That's okay. I think we're gonna disagree. That's okay.
Let's break down the Clash a little bit. We had, like I said, on the road course for the first time ever. Not very high expectations, and maybe that's why I thought this was a decent race, because my bar was set really low. Expectations were really low for this one. We got a taste of the road course last year, and I mean, it wasn't a terrible race last year, but it wasn't a barn burner.
It was a wadded up ball of sheet metal last year.
And then we started it out, and it looked like, this race is going to suck. Denny Hamlin got out front, and it was just follow the leader. And then a caution came out. And from that point forward, there was strategy. And I thought it was a very compelling race. It wasn't a spectacular race, but it was a compelling race. And then we got to the last lap, which was already setting up to be decent. The last few, or tail end of the race was setting up to be decent because of different strategies, different tire strategies. But got the late race restart, and the buddies battling coming down to the last turn. That chicane they put in on the front stretch that NASCAR was hoping would create Charlotte Roval and Canadian Tire Motorsports Park type action coming to the checkers, and it did. And Blaney and Elliott got together, and KFB gets the win.
It's the win. Kyle
Yep.
Busch.
KFB.
Yes,
There
sir.
you go.
Eric, if I have to hear another NASCAR media member talk about how Chase Elliott didn't want to wreck his friend
I
again, I am
know.
going to vomit.
So here's the thing. I was listening to the Teardown this week with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi, and Jeff's claims he goes to Jordan and he says, "You and I are friends."
Oh, I heard it.
And he says to Jordan, he says, "You would you?" He didn't even get the question out, and Jordan said, "Yeah, every time." And James, I want to ask you, coming to the line, you and me, coming to the checkers, no money on the line, just a trophy. You reckon me?
Oh yeah, I'd dump you.
Me
yeah.
too, man. You're going around.
And I would swagger around
Yeah.
afterwards. I have no shame in it.
Not
There'd be no
only
shame.
that, James, but because you are my buddy, you probably would get it worse than anybody else.
Oh sure, yeah.
I'm gonna rough you up more than anybody.
Do you remember when Dale Earnhardt wrecked his friend Rusty Wallace?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
I mean, there
God,
was
it
no
drives me
way
nuts.
coming out of turn 4 that you didn't think they were going to get together, right?
No,
I mean,
they were going to get together. No.
it was obvious Chase was going to pile it in there.
Yeah, you got to.
I was
You
actually
can't blame
impressed
Chase.
that Chase tried to pile it in there clean. He really did, because instead of going to the bumper, instead of trying to wreck him, he tried to pass him.
Yeah.
They just ran out of room. I mean, that corner's designed like that. You can't go side by side through that turn.
Yeah, and I think he went in there with the intentions of leaning on him. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he was expecting contact, but
But
yeah,
you're not going
what
to
are you
touch.
gonna do?
You cannot touch somebody in that chicane and not spin them out.
Listen, this isn't the first time Chase Elliott's done that same thing. He's done it before.
He did it at
And-
Canadian
and-
Tire Motorsports Park,
Yeah,
first
exactly.
truck series win.
Yep. Remember, he doesn't race that way.
Yep.
Remember that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, but yeah, man, you can't blame anybody for it. It's just
No.
racing.
Well,
Race
the
the deal.
biggest thing is, okay, you can say
That's what NASCAR wants.
exactly, but you can say, yeah, that's not not sportsmanship, not good sportsmanship, blah blah blah.
Nah,
During a
nah.
regular season race, I'll give that to you. But this race is for this. It's for the checkers. It's for the win. Nothing else on the line. It's designed for the last lap or last corner wreck.
Yep. Bring home the steering wheel, and that's it.
The biggest thing is that Chase committed the same sin that Denny Hamlin did when Denny wrecked him at Martinsville, and he didn't take home the win. Kyle
Yeah.
Busch snuck by and got the win, which I was shocked. I thought Chase was going to get it, but Kyle just had the line and
Yeah, Chase didn't. Chase couldn't get back up to speed.
Yeah.
He was all bogged down. So
yep.
Kyle Busch just came on rolling through. Had one lap on the day.
I mean,
technically he only led like 400 yards.
don't get me wrong though. I mean, regular season, you're gonna. It's fair game, man. This is NASCAR.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see this again at the Roval. I mean,
Yep.
This is we may see it again in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
It's
Exactly.
just the way. And this is where you and I disagree. I thought the race was pretty stinky show for the first 30 laps, and then I mean it was a good finish, and that saves it, of course. But I think one of the good things that road course racing allows is what you said, Eric, and that's where we agree. It's the strategy.
Yep.
The different situations that you find yourself in, and when you've got the better road course racer, on older tires trying to come back through the field, trying to make that pass late, it's going to definitely be exciting because Blaney, how many times did Blaney mess up on those last few laps? And Chase was just smooth, man. He was coming for him.
Well, then you had Martin Truex Jr., who was super fast, came from the back twice.
Yeah, and
was
then
basically
finally
a bull in China shop.
Yeah, he was.
You had Kyle, who was coming through the field. We saw Chase come through the field. Blaney was exciting. Daniel Hemrick was spectacular to watch. He was so much fun to watch. I thought if he had a better car, or that's what I meant. Tyler Reddick, Tyler Reddick. If he had a better car, he would have won that race. He didn't have the car.
His line going into the first corner, he kept running it high. But I mean, everybody was blowing that first corner.
Mhm.
Nobody blew it worse than Kurt Busch.
No, Kurt Busch set a new record for blowing the first turn.
I actually, when he blew the first corner, I looked up because I was feeding the baby as I'm watching the race, and I actually looked up and went, "Whoa!" I saw smoke. I'm like, "Where's he going?"
That's funny. No,
Yeah.
I thought, again, was it a barn burner? No. Was it better than last year's Clash? Yeah, it was, because last year's Clash was a mess.
Yeah.
But-
I think last year's Clash too. It took so long. That's what the time suck was probably the worst part of last year's crash or crash. Yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, that's what it was. It was a crash. But I mean, yeah, it's. I think what's going to happen here, Eric, is we're going to be running this road course again.
Yep.
For the Clash in the future. I am uncertain of that. I know the drivers aren't super think, Hamlin, Hamlin said on Twitter, some ideas should stay ideas.
Yeah.
So, I
I
don't
mean,
know
I
if his
agree.
mind has
I
changed,
like
but
seeing the cars on the oval because it's just something about that first
it's
run on the
Daytona.
oval.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we run the oval. We run it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Do we really need to run it on Tuesday too?
Right.
This is especially if we go into next year and, the road course isn't on the schedule, on the regular schedule. I think that makes us even a little bit more special. I think this at least showed us that this race can put on a good race, or this track can put on a good race.
Yeah, and I think what we said last week too, Eric, you and I said this race under the lights is going to look pretty cool, and and it did. I mean, the brakes were glowing,
Yep.
and it was a good looking show. I mean, NASCAR definitely had some positives going for him in this race, and it was good to see that.
I think NASCAR might have learned something during this race, and I don't think they're going to pick up on it. But I think what made this race, James, was the fact that they couldn't fuel until that first pit stop. Because that's what set up the strategy for people to pit and change tires, but still need to pit for fuel and make it to where it wasn't just a given that you're going to come in for tires.
Right.
So I think that really was great. And I don't know, maybe it's not that we need more gimmicks on races, but maybe it's something to think about. We have a competition caution. We're doing competition cautions this year at a lot of places.
Yeah.
Maybe we think about not letting them fuel and set that to where it's a strategy point. But again, if the caution didn't fall where it did, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So it just worked out.
I'll add to that, Eric. I think tire set limits are another thing that NASCAR might take another peek at. I mean, I know teams
it works in the truck and Xfinity series.
Yeah, I mean, I know these teams want as many tires as they can get, but how many times did we hear about Denny Hamlin saying, "Well, should I pit?" I mean, they said you got one set left, and there was 15 laps to go or something like that. I mean, and you burn them up, and you're kind of screwed at that point. So do you save them? What do you do?
Yeah,
I like that little strategy part of it too.
So, I mean, I give this race, I give it a B, James. I don't think it's not an A by any means. It was better than a lot of all-star races have been recently. And it was, honestly, it was a good taste of racing to start the season. It wasn't overwhelming like the Clash has been the last couple of years with all the wrecks. It was a good dose of fun without too much to spoil Sunday's show.
And I would say too, that last lap was NASCAR racing at its best. I mean, that's what you want. You want the big dog making a run, trying to chase down the other car, and you got Clint Borger saying it's over, and there's how many mile and a half yet to go, and
you had the two young bucks, and the grizzled veteran beats him at the line. I know it's funny to call Kyle the grizzled veteran, but he kind of is now.
He is. He's the elder statesman.
Yeah.
But, I mean, besides Harvick and Newman, he's pretty much the elder statesman.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, it was, decent show. I mean, Kyle Busch, I don't know if Kyle was super thrilled after that win. I mean,
no.
he
seemed, his demeanor seemed really, really weird.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I guess I won that one.
I guess Kyle probably was pissed off because he didn't earn it. It fell in his lap.
But yeah, I mean, that's racing. That happens sometimes.
Exactly.
I mean, look at, I know it's already been beaten to death too, but that's how Ryan Blaney won the first Roval. I mean, it was handed to him in his lap.
Yep.
So that's how this is going to go with all these road course races. This is going to be a little more common than it has been in the past.
Yep.
And I think that's what NASCAR wants. And that's why we have 7 of these on the schedule now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
And, most of them are designed to have a turn like this. If NASCAR gets the choice, they're putting a turn like this at the end of the course.
Yep. I mean, look at,
Yeah,
I mean, Sonoma's one of the OGs here with that super tight hairpin that you can make a big run on. I mean, look at Stewart and Hamlin a couple of years ago. I mean, that was a great finish to that race. So, I mean, that's got a possibility. Watkins Glen has had a couple of hairy moments, and they've got some pretty tight corners coming towards to the finish line and the bus stop too. So yeah, this is going to be good. I'm not super optimistic for next week's road course race still, but
that's what I was going to ask is what did we learn? Did we learn that we can expect a little bit more out of this one coming up? Or, I mean, it is going to be different than last year. Last year we had no practice, no qualifying. First time these guys were on the track ever in a stock car was that weekend.
Yeah.
At that race day. And this year they've all got a little bit of experience with it from last year. They're bringing some notes to it. Do we expect this to be a better race than last year? Because last year was kind of just felt like a filler to me.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be. Again, I'm not setting the bar high, but
Right.
I think it'll be okay.
It gives me a lot more optimism for this track.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was. If we can get a situation like we had, what I'm afraid of is what we saw early in this race, and Denny Hamlin. If we're all in the
Right.
same tire cycle, and you got a guy like Denny Hamlin who's running like that, I don't think we're going to have what we saw. So I'm kind of I'm gonna say it, but it was manufactured a little bit with the strategy, but that's fine. Not that that's a bad thing, but if the race falls naturally, I worry that we'll be stretched out again.
I will say a couple things that give me a little bit more optimism is, there are really 2 main passing points on this track. Maybe 3 if you talk about the International Horseshoe in the infield. But really there's 2. And they were passing in more places. There were passes in the infield. There were passes coming back up onto the big track. They were making moves coming to the bus stop on the backstretch. I mean, there were options there, so that's good too. That it's not just a single file track, which it kind of seemed like last year. And that could be the aero package, because I believe we had the high downforce last year, right? For this one,
I think you're right. Yeah,
and we had the low downforce this time. I think that helped it. So
yeah.
How about the bus stop, James? We saw a lot of issues with the bus stop kicking up dirt.
It's great.
They were driving through it. You think NASCAR is going to fix that? You think they're going to put some turtles in there, and if
they might have to, they might have to.
I don't want them to do it.
Yeah, I loved the cars. Looked like Days of Thunder out there. They were so dirty. I loved that.
I want to see them sliding through that stuff. That was another element. Martin Truex lost it back there. He lost the race in that spot. You know, Kevin Harvick almost blew it there.
Kevin Harvick lost the control of his car twice.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick just sucked at this. He sucks at this track. He's not good here.
Yeah, he's not. No, he's not.
But
so does this count as so Kyle Busch, Eric has he's won everywhere.
Yeah.
Does this go on the list for him? Daytona Road Course win, right? I mean, it's an exhibition, but it's part of the list, right?
I mean, not technically, because when he won the All-Star race, it did not count as a win on the on Charlotte.
Darn.
So
okay.
Now that being said, there is another elusive thing that now Kyle is the only one who has the opportunity to do this weekend, and that is the triple, which has never been done. Nobody's ever won the Clash, the duels, and the 500 in the same weekend. They've won the first 2, but nobody's ever won the 500 afterwards.
Yes. Yeah, Stewart and Earnhardt got a lot of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
That's a possibility. That could happen. So we'll see. Anything else with the Clash it's worth talking about?
No, man. I think we covered it all.
Yeah.
I did tweet out, though, just going back to the dirt for just a quick second. I said we got a preview of the Bristol Bristol dirt track out there. That did. I mean, that's what it reminded me of. It was kind of crazy, but I've never seen the cars that dirty. So
they were filthy.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was like, oh man, it looks like Days of Thunder. This is great.
It was fun. I liked it. A couple things in the news, not a whole lot to discuss. Martin Truex Jr. signs a new contract with JGR. You got on here through 2022. We know it's at least through 2022. At
least through 22. Yeah, it's a multi-year extension.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to be there for a little bit longer. And I saw Pocker say that all JGR drivers are through at least 2022 now.
Yeah. I mean, there's no surprise here, right? I mean, where's Truex going to go? Where would you go other than JGR?
Oh, you retire. That's it.
Right. I mean, that's it.
If you're not gonna race for Joe Gibbs Racing, you retire. Yeah, that's it. Unless you make the lateral move of Stuart Haas or Hendrick, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are your options. Once you're at the top, there's nowhere else to go.
Right.
Except the rocking chair.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And Joe said it. I mean, Martin brings a lot to this organization, and he's not wrong.
No.
I mean, Martin Truex Jr. revitalized that 19 team when they came over.
We've talked some bad things about Martin Truex Jr. He's not. I mean, he's a champion. He's not. I wouldn't consider him. I mean, he's an A driver.
Yeah.
He's a top tier driver. I don't think he's on Kyle's level. I don't think he's on Chase's level, but he's pretty darn close.
Yeah, he's probably at this point in his career, he's probably the 3rd best driver on his team, which is not. I mean, Hamlin and Busch are
right. Yeah.
I mean, you're not comparing him to other teams out there.
Right.
It's not like saying Cole Custer is the third best driver on his team, or for example, or
Right.
whatever. This is a different situation. This is the Yankees. This is the All Stars.
Yeah, exactly.
So he fills that void for JGR, but. Yeah, it's we wonder what he is without Cole Pern, and we saw it last year. But they were still pretty good. I know they only won one race, but that team was still solid.
They were there.
So if they can improve on it a little bit, I mean, he's still a championship threat. So you keep him through the next couple of years. You get to see what he can do with the new car, and you've got flexibility beyond. They have complete roster flexibility beyond 2022, which I think is actually a good thing for JGR. They can kind of see where they're at and start planning ahead just a little bit too.
Right. We got some information on the Kyle Busch crew chief situation, which is pretty interesting. The Graham Bensinger, I don't know, is that how you say it, Bensinger?
I think you're right.
Kyle was on there this week and said that Adam Stevens' decision to leave was Adam Stevens' decision, not Kyle's, not the team's. The quote is, I asked Adam for a couple of changes to be made over the offseason, and he didn't agree with my philosophy on those changes. So he said, you know what? I'm going to go do something different and let you do something different, and we'll see what happens. And Kyle says I was shocked because I was like, well, essentially you just told me you quit on me. So, okay, see you later. Now I have to go find somebody else. So interesting dynamic there. Obviously things were a little rocky, maybe rockier than we thought.
Well, that season, Eric, was, probably an eye opener.
Yeah.
But, would you want to work directly with Kyle Busch for 6 straight years?
No. I love Kyle Busch. I don't want to work with Kyle Busch for 15 minutes.
Yeah. This is coming from Kyle, so I don't know. I'm surprised he said this, honestly.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what it is about this show, James, but they get the good answers on this show.
It's good.
He does a great job. There's always good information from this one.
Yeah, I'm surprised it took this long to come out. We're ready to start the season, and now we've got a little bit of like inter squad rivalry going on here.
It is interesting because Kyle's usually pretty tight-lipped about stuff.
Yeah, and he's made some snarky. Before this article came out, he's been being kind of snarky about his team already this year.
Yeah.
Have you heard some of the stuff he's said? Like, basically we're the 20. I'm driving the 20 car this year, and all this other stuff. He's been short about it. So I don't know. I have just thought he's been generally grumpier than.
Well, you know what a grumpy Kyle Busch brings us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be
exciting.
Could be a good season, maybe.
Could be. Could be. I hope he likes what he's got. He's 1 for 1 with this new team. So
yeah, can't complain.
Well, Kyle basically said too that he was fired from the 18 car. That was the exact word he said, was fired from the 18 cars. He said that's what it felt like. I was fired from the 18, which, that's not. You can't. I don't know. You can't say your crew chief quit, and I don't know. I'm just confused. I'm confused.
Kyle's dramatic.
Sure. Yeah.
He's very dramatic.
He is.
So, okay. The only other thing in the news, the qualifying's over for the 500 now. Alex Bowman is on the pole, so as long as no inspection issues, doesn't wreck the car, that sort of thing, he will start on the pole for the Daytona 500. William Byron will be outside front row. Both of them will pace the field for the the blue-green something vacations. I don't know what the hell they're called.
I know it's the 150s.
The Gatorade. They used to be the Gatorade duels. They're the duels, man. The duels on Thursday night.
Just call them the duels.
The duels.
And I hate that they're the 150s still. That still bothers me. They used to be the twin. It used to be the twin 125s.
Yeah. I don't know where they really need the extra 25 miles.
I don't know. What's this called? The duels.
But
and their point and for NBC, they're points paying races. By the way, there's points on the line.
Yeah, you're right.
At the duels.
You're right.
I was that 2 years in a row I got them on that tweet. I was channeling my inner Nick Brownberg. So yes, these are points paying races.
So front row for race 1 on Thursday night will be Alex Bowman and Eric Almirola. Front row for race 2 will be William Byron and Bubba Wallace.
Look at that.
Yep.
Bubba.
So there you go. And Derek Cope, Noah Gragson, neither of them took time.
Yeah, Gregson I didn't see what it was. We were getting ready to start the show, and I saw Gregson had an issue, but I didn't know what it was. But yeah, Derek Cope makes the field, and he and didn't run a lap. Just drives me crazy.
All right, James, we get to preview the Daytona 500. I don't got any other news unless there's something I missed.
Nope, it's 500 time, man.
There we go.
Super Bowl of Motorsports.
Oh, don't do that. Don't.
I love that.
Who was it that I think it was? I don't know. It might have been one of the morning drive guys or something. Or no, it was whoever's on the afternoon show with Chocolate Myers for on Sirius said that he was hoping to hear somebody say during the Super Bowl weekend that this is their Daytona 500 because we always say the Daytona 500 is our Super Bowl. So.
Well, when Fox usually carries the Super Bowl, there's a ton of Daytona 500 ads.
Yeah.
But this year was CBS, so we didn't get a whole lot of that.
Yep. Instead, we got lots of Paramount Plus ads.
Yeah, are you going to sign up for Paramount Plus?
No.
Okay.
No, thank you.
I have enough pluses in my life right now.
Yeah, I've got Peacock thanks to this freaking Supercross. So for those,
did you ever finish Dale Jr.'s show?
No,
by the way?
No, I never did. I still watched.
Unbelievable! I'm still waiting for you to finish that dang Lost Speedways. So I can tell you.
Actually, I have it without commercials right now, so I should watch it.
Oh my god! Heaven forbid there be commercials.
No, but I'm catching back up on his podcast again. I just finished listening to the first episode of the Darrell Waltrip interview today, and I started the second episode, and then he's got Larry Mack on again this week. So, yeah.
Yes, that's good. I mean, yeah, that's really good. The man who won the 500 with Dale Earnhardt, Larry Mack.
Yeah, yep, that's what they're talking about is the 98 500. So,
heck yeah, man, that's awesome.
All right, so we're gonna do our picks. Our picks are gonna be different this year, James. I'll explain it to you because I sort of did, but then it's just in case.
My response to you earlier in the day was you're putting too much. What did I say? You're expecting too much of me.
Yeah,
is what you said. What I said. So that's
yes. So because in other words, what you have to do is you have to look at the average finish of 3 series instead of 1 series the last second before the show. I actually prepared my picks in advance tonight. I have my picks ready to go, and I have a backup because I'm letting you pick first because I didn't include this in the notes, but I think whoever loses the week prior will get the first pick each week. And because I won the championship last year, you get the first pick this week.
Damn.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're each picking one driver from each series. They will be. It's not necessarily our winner. We're picking for points. So pick one driver from each series. Must be racing for points in that series because we're going to earn the same points that they earn. Whichever points that driver scores over the weekend, we score ourselves, and then whoever has the most points at the end of the season wins the championship. And I don't think we'll probably do a playoffs. We'll probably just do this all the way through, I think. If that works for you.
That works for me, man.
So, and I spent some time today and made a nice little spreadsheet in Google Sheets so I can keep track of this and not have to add it up every week.
That's right.
So
that's right.
In theory, it should be easy. James, I will handle the scoring of it so you don't have to deal with it. All you got to do is come with picks each week.
Good.
And on that note, the Truck Series race is Friday night. The Nextra Energy 250, I believe, is what the race is called.
Yeah.
And you get the first pick. Who is your pick for the Truck Series, which could be challenging because there's some new drivers this year, and this one's a little tougher.
There's some new drivers, and I took a look at all of them. And, man, I don't know.
For the record, I got this idea from Larry Mack and their show on Sirius because this is how they do their picks. So.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be there's gonna be some weeks where it's challenging. But
it's gonna be really challenging. I mean,
we're gonna make it work.
Yeah.
We are gonna make it work, by God. Okay, so I'm gonna do for the Truck Series. I'm gonna start out with a conservative pick for the trucks.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Matt Crafton.
It's a good one.
Just a solid. I'm a little bit worried that they're switching manufacturers so
yeah, that's
late.
Right. They are switching manufacturers, aren't
they? Yes, they did. Yeah, they are from Ford to Toyota. But I feel like if I go with Crafton, he's going to score me some points. So that's what I'm going for. I want points. Give me Crafton.
There you go. I am going to go an opposite direction, and I am going to go with somebody who I think is going to set the world on fire in the Truck Series this year. And I'm going to pick John Hunter Nemechek.
Oh, yeah.
As my
John
winner.
Hunter. Yeah. Yeah, we got to look out for for a few guys, but yeah, he's the one coming back down to the trucks.
Yep.
To light the world on fire
I
with
think
KBM.
John Hunter in a competitive truck for possibly the first time ever, he could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
No, neither of us chose Haley Deegan.
No, we did not choose Haley Deegan.
She is running for points, right? She's running the whole series in truck series.
Yeah,
this year?
she's running for the she's running for the championship. Yep, Haley, and I will wonder if she'll get picked this year. We'll find out.
Yeah. John Hunter was my first choice. My backup pick was Johnny Sauter, though, with 3 wins at Daytona.
Yeah, Johnny Sauter's a good one. Yeah, I took a look at that. It's such a crapshoot at Daytona, but
yeah, I mean, especially this race. If you look at the winners in the truck series, it's usually somebody who just lucks into a win.
Exactly, and here's the thing we have to remember too, and this is part of why I picked Crafton. I'm looking at stage points here too, because at Daytona you're not necessarily looking just for the winner. You know, if Crafton goes out there and wins a couple stages or runs high all race, you're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, but you want to know why that's a bad choice?
Why is that?
Crafton's one of those guys that hangs in the back all race.
That's okay, but he's going to
get those stage points.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be there.
That is a good point, though. It's really a different strategy this year because it's not just who finishes highest.
Exactly. Yeah, and we're not picking underdogs either. So
yep, no underdogs.
Yep.
All right, Xfinity Series. Speaking of crapshoots, this one could be a pretty good crapshoot as well. James, who are you picking for the Xfinity Series winner? I don't know what the heck this race is called. So.
Yeah, no. So I will go. So the guy who won this race last year? That's Noah Gragson.
Correct.
I was gonna take Noah, and I think I'm gonna take him. I think I'm still gonna take him. I'm still gonna take Noah Gragson. He runs these the big tracks pretty well. The super speedways, so I will take him. A lot of good ones to pick from here, though. There's one that was staring me in the face, and I'm wondering if you're going to take him.
He probably drives the 11 car, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Haley was my first choice, and Gregson was my backup. So I'm going Justin Haley.
Yeah, that was the one I was looking at. I'm like, man, he's really good at these places. He's probably the best one.
This will be. I mean, that's obviously the first time ever that I'm going to pick.
Well,
you're going to
get karma. You're going to get karma for picking him. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a Justin Haley fan, but he proved himself to me last year with the
he broke your spirit, man.
Yeah,
he really did.
Yeah,
he really did.
And then the big one, James, Daytona 500 on Sunday. Hopefully, no rain. Knock on wood. Who's your pick for the 500 this year?
Yeah, the Daytona 500. So I get the first pick for the 500, and
the first pick.
There's a lot of places you can go, but there's one guy that everybody thinks is going to win.
Are you going for the 3-peat?
No.
Oh, okay.
Though I feel like an idiot for not picking Denny Hamlin.
I know,
I'm gonna pick,
right? Me too.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Ryan Blaney.
Blaney.
Yeah, he showed me something last year, and I kind of wish we were picking after the duels because I'd like to see what these guys are going to look like out there. But I'll take Blaney. I mean, he runs these places as good as anybody, and winning 3 in a row is really hard to do. If Denny Hamlin pulls it off, good on him.
So I'm going to be stupid, James.
There you go.
And I am going to not vote with my brain, but vote with my heart. And go with my prediction that this is going to be a turning point of a year. And he already started the season off on the right foot. And I'm going to say that Kyle Busch gets his Daytona 500 win.
KFB, a 500 champion.
Yep. It's the only thing he's got left, man.
You know, Daytona is a great place to go with your heart, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna go anywhere. Yeah,
exactly. But Kyle, I mean, he does terrible in this race usually.
Yeah,
it's just if it was the summer race, yeah. But this race, he's never in it, man. He usually wrecks early or gets something stupid happens. Yeah. Kyle was my first pick. Blaney was my backup. So
if Denny Hamlin finishes this off, if he gets the 3-peat at Daytona, I mean, he's already. Let's put that up there with. I mean, that's about as good as getting a championship.
Yeah, that's a big stat.
He'd have 4 total 500s. He could have won.
Richard Petty won 7 of these and didn't do 3 in a row.
Yeah, he could have won the 2018 Daytona 500 if things would have went his way a little bit different. People forget that when Austin Dillon blew by, he spun out Eric Almirola. Right. Hamlin was the guy who was right there, and if things would have bounced a little differently, he could have won that race too.
That is the thing too. Like there are some really good picks for this race. William Byron's really good on the big tracks. Eric Almirola is a lot of people's pick this weekend. Bubba Wallace is a great pick here. Harvick's gotten it done here. Yeah. Chase Elliott's a great pick. I mean, there's a lot of good drivers. Matthew Benedetto.
Yep.
Eric Jones, yeah,
don't
Joey
care if Eric
Logano. How can you not pick Joey Logano for this race? Although,
Yeah, Jolo.
Logano will never win in this package because he's just going to cause a wreck by blocking.
Yeah, I know.
And then TJ Majors will say it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, part of me always wants to take Brad Keselowski still.
Yeah.
And I'd love for him to get this one. That would be a really nice, mark on his career. And he's got a lot to race for this year. So he's one of my, in my heart,
Yeah.
I'd love to see him pull it off. I mean, heck, Kyle Larson, if he comes back and his first race back is a 500 win, I mean, come on. That would be huge for him. Could really turn his entire career around. I mean, this race right here can make a lot of things happen for some of these guys.
Well, it starts whoever wins it starts the year off in the playoffs.
Yeah, and how about Ryan Newman?
Yeah, exactly.
What if Ryan Newman comes back and wins this dang thing?
Yeah,
he almost won it last year.
300 feet away from the victory?
Yeah. Yep. I know. So that's what I'm saying. This is great. I mean, we've got some guys locked into this race. I mean, David Reagan finished top 5 last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a part-time guy, but
yep.
He knows how to win. He's done it before.
Yeah, there's about 5 guys that you could pick as that won't win this race, and that's about it. Derek Cope's not going to win this race, guys.
Derek Cope's not winning the race.
It's not going to happen. Joey Gase,
Ty Dillon,
probably
not going to win. Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Ty Dillon, maybe. If he's in the right spot, he could do it. I could see Ty Dillon pulling it off.
Yeah. And we didn't mention it earlier, but Ryan Preece did get in. He might not be able to race the whole season, but they got rid of their charter or gave it back. So lots going on there. I mean, gosh, yeah, Michael McDowell. We didn't even bring him up. He could win one of these races. So
yeah, I mean, you really could just throw a dart at the board and pick somebody.
Yep.
So
and the Daytona 500 gets a little wacky.
That being said, there's always the same several guys that are right up front, and we didn't pick one of them. So
yeah, exactly. Well, there's a reason that Hamlin, Keselowski, Blaney, those guys are always up front at Talladega and Daytona. They know how to do this. They're the best at it. But there's that wild card part of it. You go to Vegas and you look at the odds, and I mean, you could probably get some good value for some of these guys.
I will say though, the 500, the wild card happens at the 500 a lot less than it does at Talladega.
That's right. Yeah.
Usually the 500 is a big name driver. I mean, you've had your Trevor Baynes get through and win it,
but even
generally.
Yeah, but you think about that Trevor Bayne 500, Eric. That was, I mean, you were there.
Yeah.
That car was fast all week.
He was
that
on
was
the
not
front of Jeff Gordon all day. I mean,
yeah, he was not a fluke that he won that race.
No.
Like that was it was a fluke name that won the race, but no, you put all the cards together just like that, and you get a win. I mean, that's that's the thing about Daytona. You do get the randomness a little bit. And you got a guy like Trevor Bayne who comes and it's just his day. And then you've had guys like Tony Stewart who have been one push away from getting it done and never had it happen. Or he's had the fastest car and, messed up like he did in 2007 and he never got his opportunity to win it. He had his chances, but he never sealed the deal. So
I'll be interested to see how the duels are tomorrow night with the fact that we haven't been on the oval track in a race this year.
Yeah. Since the finale of since the Cup Series finale, regular season finale last year.
Yeah, so that's unusual. Usually we get that reckon out of our system in the Clash. We didn't get that this year. So will the duels be wilder and will the 500 be wilder as a result? It'll be interesting. Yeah. So.
Yep.
All right. Fantasy League. There's nothing to update because we didn't have any picks. But James, how do people sign up if they want to sign up?
Go to Fantasy NASCAR Fantasy Live at NASCAR.com. And just find the Super Speedway, 3 words, the Super Speedway, and join our group. It's wide open. So, you know what? And actually, I will look and see.
Anybody new jump in?
I had a couple people reach out and said they might want to join. I didn't know if they did or not yet, but let me take a look and see how many numbers we got here signing in. Oh my gosh, the internet. Okay, here we go. So Eric, we got a few new ones in here.
Do we?
Yeah, we got Rusty W2. That's a new one.
Nice.
Let me see. Our local favorites are here. We got Freight Train, Ranger. The KB Show's still there.
That's good because I didn't do anything yet. So.
Yeah, Denny the Many, Toyota fan. So yeah, we've got a couple people in here. So let's see how it see if it grows here in the next couple weeks. But yeah, you guys have got time. You can pick your roster until pretty much right on race day, because there's no poll award or anything like that. So a couple of new things that they've introduced though. They have bonus picks now, Eric.
Okay.
You can pick the race winner, then you pick the top Chevrolet for 5 points, top Ford for 5 points,
Interesting.
top Toyota for 5 points.
Is that in place of picking a manufacturer, or you still get the winning?
No, you still can pick the manufacturer for 10, and then you pick the winning team for 10.
Nice, that's interesting.
Yeah, so a few new changes to Fantasy Live. I'm gonna roll with it.
I like that.
See how it goes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So come on in, people.
There you
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
sign up. I mean, at least make it. This is so painful for me every year. So if you guys sign up for it, at least it'll make it a little less painful, or more painful, because I'll suck worse. So
yes, the job is to beat Todd.
Right, exactly.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Exactly.
Many of us.
Yeah. Reminder: whoever wins gets a guest spot on the show for the season wrap up. So we'll have you on a pod, and then unless you don't want to be, and then tough, you don't get a prize. So
that's fine.
I mean, who wouldn't want to be on this podcast? This is an example of professionalism if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, if you if anybody listened to the entire podcast last week,
yeah, did you guys hear the Easter egg last week?
There's a little Easter egg that Eric snuck into the last podcast. If you listened to the entire episode, you got a nice little hint of how, I've always said, Eric, the after show and the pre-show are always better than the actual show.
Well, the after show is always great, but I don't ever record that part. But the pre-show is recorded, and there's some good stuff in there.
There's some good stuff today.
Yeah.
From the pre-show.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. Any shout-outs, James, this week?
Not from me. I'm trying to think if I had anything, but I gave all my good shout-outs away the last couple weeks. I'm just ready for the 500, man.
I'm going to steal your shout-out from last week and shout him out again. Life in the Fans Lane. James's buddy has a podcast. I got to listen to at least the first, I have 23 minutes left in the first episode 0. And it was pretty interesting. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. So,
yeah, they're trying it. They're they're doing a couple cool things.
They have their new episodes out. So
yeah, they've got their last episode. I looked at the timestamp on it. I said, they got the same problem we do.
Exactly.
Hour
and 45 minutes.
But no, they're doing a good job. They're taking a different spin on the podcast. So it's definitely not, it's not a competitor of ours or anything like that. It's a whole new take on what they're doing. So I like it.
I liked hearing them talk about how they got into it and how they became interested in NASCAR. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a great way. It was a great way to start.
I'm gonna have to work a way to get them into my podcast rotation because it's tough. It's tough to find room in there. I'm back to working at the office, so I've got a couple hours on the road each day. So that helps. When I was working from home, I wasn't listening to any podcasts, and that's tough.
Yeah. See, I'm able to still. But you and I have, we have different brains. Yeah, we have different brains.
I can't work and listen to words, but my job is words. I mean, I have to write and read. Yes. So how do you do that when you're listening to words too?
I should have said I do have a shout out.
Okay, go ahead. It's your time.
Eric, you and I were talking before the podcast. The Ryan McGee and ESPN Dale Earnhardt stuff. So 20 years has passed since Dale has passed, and man, I can't believe it's been that long.
No,
holy crap. But they're doing a 4-part series on basically everything going into what happened to Dale and everything that happened afterwards. Quotes from Dale Jr. Dale Jr. is a big part of it. That's a great piece. And then they're going to do something on E60 on the morning of the 500 on ESPN. And then another piece about it is Jordan Bianchi's piece.
Yeah, I haven't read that yet. I heard it's great.
Just give it a chance if you're an Athletic subscriber. Jordan did a 20th anniversary talk to reporters who was there that day. Just a couple of interesting spins on the 20th anniversary of, really basically when that day happened, we entered a new era of NASCAR. Mm-hmm. The old era of NASCAR was gone, and we were in a whole new space. Ever since then. So, changed for probably not for the better, not having Dale around. Unfortunately, but we're still here, and because of I would say too, Eric, because of Dale's legacy, we're still here and we're still strong. The sport's in a healthy place. it wasn't for a few years, but I would say that we are in a very healthy spot, and that's because of the legacy of Dale Earnhardt. He's a big part of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say even, if we've got younger fans that, weren't around when or weren't watching NASCAR when Dale was racing, it's hard to describe to you what it was like to lose Dale Earnhardt. I mean, I couldn't pick somebody. There's so many. Many stars now in our sport that there's not one like him. If we were to, I mean, it would be tragic to lose anybody, but it wouldn't be the same as losing Dale. I mean,
the only person who's even climbing the mountain is Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff was the only other person, and that's saying something because we've had Jimmy Johnson and a lot of great drivers. Tony Stewart have rolled through the series, won multiple championships.
Gotta get that Tony Stewart in there, don't you?
Well, I mean, he's a 3-time champ, dude. I mean,
he's
great drivers.
He's all right.
Yeah, Kyle Busch is on that list. I'm not saying he's not. Kyle Busch. I mean, I'm just talking about the great champions of the sport. And
Earnhardt was right at that point in his career where, he'd had some struggles. He was becoming a fan favorite finally. He'd, started DEI. He had the 3-car team at the 500 that year. I mean, Dale was really hated for a long time. It'd be hard to believe now, but Dale was really hated by a lot of people.
Oh yeah, he was.
Anybody but Earnhardt.
I was one of them. I was one of them, man.
Yeah, me too.
As a kid, I did not like Dale Earnhardt.
Yep. But he was at that age that, someone like Jimmy Johnson was, that they start to get the respect. The fans start to respect him. They start to appreciate what they had with them.
Kyle Busch is going to enter that zone here very, very soon.
Yep, it's coming. He's getting there. Getting real close.
Yep. So Jeff Gordon was like that too. People hated Jeff Gordon. He entered the old man zone. And
I mean, back then you either liked Jeff Gordon or you liked Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
And whoever
if you were a fan of another driver, you had to pick one of the two.
Yeah.
Still.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you hated the other guy.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know many people who hated both. I mean, I remember I didn't like either of them because Jeff Gordon won too much, and I just didn't like Dale Earnhardt because he wrecked everybody all the time. That was as a kid. That was my,
I was
opinion as a kid.
Pretty much a Gordon fan most of the way through. I got sick of seeing Gordon win, but I was always a Gordon fan.
I think when Eric, I should say too, another comp to Dale Earnhardt, but not in a different way, is Davey. When we lost Davey, but we lost Davey before he could become Dale Earnhardt.
Right.
Like he could have been that guy. He could have been the Jeff Gordon type. We lost him at a point where we weren't able to see him blossom into what he was going to become.
Well, in that era of NASCAR, we had big personalities like that, and we just don't have that anymore. Sponsors have ruined that. TV has ruined that. There's just too much. I mean, not to say that what Kyle Larson did was okay, but that sort of thing is what's ruined that. And so it's different now, but Earnhardt wasn't just a big personality. He was the big personality. Yeah. I mean, so
Dale and Jeff Gordon transcended NASCAR. They were, you don't like to say that people are bigger than the sport. But a guy like Tiger Woods is bigger than golf. Like Tiger Woods could go start his own golf tour and it would be the biggest thing, in that sport. Dale and Jeff could have started their own stock car racing series and it would have been the biggest thing.
My favorite thing is we go to Michigan and, it's a 200-lap race. Earnhardt would crash out on lap 50. Half the stands would leave because they were only there to see Dale Earnhardt, and that was it. And it was just ridiculous. I mean, no other drivers like that.
Yep. Yeah, how fortunate were you and I that we got to watch Dale race in person, and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, we saw Dale in his prime.
I mean, you got to see Richard. See, that's right before
Richard wasn't Richard anymore, though.
Yeah.
Richard was the towel in the mouth guy that could barely hang on the steering wheel. Looked like he was about ready to die when he got out of the car by the time I started watching.
Yeah.
Or started at least appreciating it.
Right.
My first couple of years in the sport, 88, 89, were the worst Richard Petty years.
Well, that was Darrell Waltrip for me.
Yeah.
That was when I was in the sport. Darrell Waltrip was the worst guy out there.
Yep.
You play the NASCAR video game and Darrell Waltrip was last place all the time.
Yeah. It's funny how that goes.
I know. Yeah, I mean, heck, we kind of got that with Jimmy Johnson a little bit. Not to that extent. I mean, he was still competitive, but
at least Jimmy was wrecking out of the lead. Coming to the end of the stage.
right.
not missing qualifying for races.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to all of our stars at some point. You know, Jeff Gordon was the only one who, was still racing for a title right to the bitter end. But
yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad we got to talk Dale.
Rusty went pretty long.
Dale.
Rusty was still pretty competitive when he hung it up.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Rusty was pretty competitive. For Dale Jarrett, right until that, I mean, he went to Michael Waltrip Racing, and that was the end of it. But
I mean, Mark Martin was super competitive when he retired for the first time.
Yeah.
The 8th or 9th time he was struggling, but
yeah, I think when Mark won 5 races first year with Hendrick, that was the end of it.
Yeah,
and then he was still giving Mark. Well, he was in his freaking 50s.
Yeah,
though.
right.
Mark was a different beast.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
that dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I love talking Dale Earnhardt stories, man. We could. Oh God, we could divulge into.
Why don't we talk about this stuff during the off season? Just talk about '90s NASCAR.
We could definitely do that.
So many good '90s stories.
Oh my God,
good stuff from the heyday of NASCAR.
Our heyday, yeah.
I mean, I'm not one of those people that I very much, even as I consider myself a pretty long-term fan. I mean, I did not from the '70s or anything, but early '80s, mid '80s was when I started watching the sport, when I could first watch the TV. And I've been a fan ever since then. And I'm not one of those deluded people that thinks that was the best era of NASCAR and things just aren't as good now. I think things are way more competitive now. There were pluses back then that we don't have now, but there are things we have now that we didn't have back then, and you just can't compare them. But
no, I know.
Man, I've got some good memories of that time.
Yeah, and I love the '90s NASCAR. Like I think that's my favorite era. But I think the 2005s, right around 2005 to 2007, I feel like those are the best, most competitive years of NASCAR. Like those are.
I don't know. See, I feel like
incredible years. Those were incredible years.
That era is kind of where I started to lose some interest a little bit.
Yeah,
I think, and I feel like right now is so much better than then. I mean, I absolutely love where our sport is right now.
Yeah,
I love where our sport is.
It's not in a bad spot right now. We're not doing bad. No. I mean, we got MJ.
We got MJ.
I think I'm going to say that every time on the podcast. We got Michael.
Yep. So, all right.
Very good.
James, if people want to chat about 90s NASCAR or mid-2000s NASCAR with you, how can they do that on social media?
James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast at Facebook or on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is www.thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, show notes, links to all the articles we discuss, some past race coverage, photos, all that stuff. Check that out there. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud, soon to be more places. And if you want to become a patron and help out with the show, you can do that at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. We got cars on the track the rest of the week, as long as the weather holds out. We got the Gatorade, or not Gatorade duels. They're just the duels. The duels are tomorrow night, Thursday night, Truck Series Friday, Saturday Xfinity, Cup Series Sunday. Lots of racing planned. Hopefully it all goes off well. We'll be back next week to discuss it all and preview the road course at Daytona. It's time, guys. The season is beginning. Let's go racing.
Where are we in qualifying? I haven't had a chance to look yet.
William Byron is on the pole right now. There are 33 cars that have gone. Derek Cope is next up.
Wow.
But still to go, Eric Almirola, Austin Dillon, Alex Bowman, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, and Christopher Bell. So
those guys aren't beating Byron.
Well, Alex Bowman maybe.
Oh, Bowman, yeah.
Bowman could. So, yeah, I got the scoring monitor pulled up. I love that they do this virtual media center now. It's so nice.
All right. Well, there you go.
All right, boys, time to wrap it up.
How excited are you not to have to be in an apartment much longer?
Oh, dude, I can't even tell you. I'm so excited. Hey, talk like you're going to be on, like you talked during the show.
Okay. How's it going, man? Doing good? Having a good day? Loving life?
I think I got your volume better this week.
Perfect.
You were really low last week when I went back and listened to it.
I checked it out for a little bit.
I think I've got it better. God, they're still on the freaking thing. Guys, it's time.
Are you recording?
I am recording, yes.